goals that I have for after reunion that were things that I had kind of heard throughout. And they were all things that I hear from all the leaders in all of the organizations that we are associated with, Jesse's group and Becca and Callie's group, and all of the directors and superstar directors and star directors within group Make It Happen. So the list of 100 is like, I knew that, and I do that, and I redo it because it always changes. And then I collect no's, but a lot of what I had heard in the training was, I heard it over and over and over again. Oh my gosh, and of course I didn't write it down, and that's exactly what it's about. If you don't write it down, you'll forget it. Or, what the biggest lie that I tell myself is I'll remember it. This is my example of that. Like, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, collecting no's. So I collect no's, but I have like my little badge and I chick, but every day it starts over again. I don't write it down like on a piece of paper. And so that was something that I'm being very intentional with. I did the math, and I know that in order to do 100 no's for this month, I only need to collect 4 no's a day. So my goal is to do 4 no's a day, 4 to 7, so that I could get 100 to 200 no's. So writing that down was really important that I had gotten from some of these breakout sessions. Having a hot list, which is something that I've heard Michelle and Jesse and Lauren talk about. Whiff boxes like Michelle. That's how I want to boost my PRV. But when I got home, the little itty bitty icky committee got inside my head and thought, I'm not gonna be able to find anybody that wants to do it. So I just need to kick that out of there and just do it. Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do it. And I liked what Michelle said with just goal for 10. And I'm so bad with names, and I hope that doesn't come off as disrespectful. Like, I just suck at names. So all these rock stars are talking to me and I just can't remember their names, or I wrote them down in a funny place. And so I don't know what her name was. She was talking in Jesse's meeting.
Carrie Bowens or
yes.
Nancy Anderson?
I think it was Carrie Bowens. She was talking about the whiff boxes, right?
No, and Nancy Anderson was, well, they were actually both did, but Nancy that was her main.
It was the second lady that talked.
So the one afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, that was Carrie.
Okay, so Carrie had mentioned, which actually stuck to me, because when I was thinking about whiff boxes, I was like, I'll do like a $30 and I'll do like a $35, and maybe one month I'll do like a $20, and then she had said, whatever you do, just stick to it. So I decided I'm going to do a $20 box, and that's it. And I figure I can get some full-size product in there and then some like good size samples in there. And so that's my goal. And then to make it Scentsy simple, because I was like, themes, like how am I going to do the themes? I don't know if it was at the expo, somebody did like a yellow theme. And so I thought that's super easy, like yellow theme. And then like, if I get clever someday, maybe I'll use like puns or play on words or something, but I'll just do like citrus, and I'll do like musk or pumpkin, or I don't know. So I just 5, 4, 3, 2, and I have to do that. I also wrote down, like my goals are, I want to do more parties, but I've known that I just need to step out of my comfort zone and try and figure out how to be more creative with getting around the weekends with parties. And then doing intentionally 3-bag parties a week. I wrote down, oh my gosh, you guys, I wrote down so much stuff. You probably shouldn't have called on me because I have so much stuff. Things that I thought were important. I went through, let me see if I can find them. One big one. So with my team, one big takeaway that I took was what gets recognized gets repeated. And that has been so true with myself. Like, how do you know that you're doing the right thing? Because people shout you out. And so I was glad to know that I'm on the right page with that. Like, I try and, shout out the people on my team that are active and that are like, have PRV and that are going out of their comfort zone. And so I went into, I can't remember, Katie Farner. She's pregnant, right? Yeah. So I went into Katie Farner's breakout, and she had a list of like 10 things. And so she said, like number one, focus on wide growth, which I knew. Oh, and then another aha moment, squirrel, about the wide growth thing is I had heard Michelle talk a lot about, and Jesse and all the leaders in our group talk about, the importance of wide growth. And so when I joined, I never really thought about downline. I've always just focused on frontline. And so I have 13 frontline. Nope, I have one fell off. So I have 11 frontline and one downline. I have a teamie who has a team member. And my aha moment was, I'm always asking, like, how many people do I need in order to like average to promote to director? How many people do I need to be like superstar consultant? Like, I'm always asking this question. And my goal has always been 40 in my head. And everybody's like, yeah, but I'm thinking 40 frontline. And when we went to one of the breakout sessions, they had posted the actual numbers. They said the average director has 19 frontline. And I was like, wow, that blew my mind, because I'm thinking I need like 40 frontline. And I confuse team with frontline a lot. Not confused, but in my mind, I don't want to think about I just want to think about my team, like my frontline. And so that was kind of an aha moment that I already knew, but it's one of those, you hear it, like you understand it when you need it type things. And so that was kind of one of those things. Like, I never really thought about a team before, because I didn't want to focus on a team, I guess. I was more PRV based, and I'm still PRV based, but anyway, so she said, walk the talk. So if you are saying, get 500 PRV, then you need to be getting 500 PRV. Like, I knew that. It was good to hear a lot of the things that I knew. She said that the leader sets the pace for the team, and people will rise up to that standard. And then she said, reward and recognize what you want repeated. And so I knew about, paid title and recruiting and active and consistency are actually, and new team members and things like that. But she had also mentioned like consistency. So shout out your people when they're consistent. And that's true, because in our incentives, that's what we get rewarded for. We get rewarded for being consistent. And that was just it was something that I knew, but it's like when you can't think of the word, but then it exists kind of thing. It's like I knew that it was a concept that existed, but I had never I don't know. She also said, I got a lot out of Katie Farner's breakout, having realistic expectations, harness the power of why, which is really important, which again comes into comparison. Comparison is a thief of joy. My why is different from your why. And so what I'm doing, you shouldn't necessarily compare yourself to what I'm doing, because you might have a different why. You might not be trying to quit your job by January. I know I am. And then she also said that in that same breath, it's important. It's also important to compare yourself to others, because you can see where you need to be. So if everybody is, putting in their 500, you should compare yourself to that, because it's important to get your 500 in order to hit your title. So not comparing yourself and comparing yourself is both important, with what she had said. Coaching calls are important, she said. Having a system for tracking your performance. And I've heard Jesse and Michelle talk about that. Building their belief in themselves, and then delegating because we're all busy. That's probably the number one thing that I hear from everybody. I'm busy. And so I knew that it was important, stamping your flyers and putting them together. I tried to get my kid to come down here, but he's more he just wants to be on video games. So those are things that I could delegate. She said, focus on income producing activities, follow up, join conversations, parties, events, personal, I don't know what that says. Host coaching. I wish I knew what that said. It says something bookings, maybe personal bookings. I don't know what I wrote. And then she said that the non-income producing activities, are samples and bagging orders and fun mail and organizing your office. Those are all things that we can give to people, and we can hire neighborhood teenagers and family members, and we can have our spouses help, and good customers, and we can pay in Scentsy. And so it was nice to just hear that. Like, I'd already heard that before, and it was just nice. I'm surrounded by Scentsy all the time, so I'm like, why would somebody want a car bar? But because it's something that they don't already have, I forget that a lot. Like, just because I'm surrounded with it and I see it, and there's no like wow factor for me, doesn't mean that it won't with someone else. And then she said, pay close attention to what you are projecting, and how do you make Scentsy look to your team? Do you make it look really difficult? You don't want people saying, wow, I could never be like you. Wow, I can't do that. And so that was something that I feel like I'm a little bit OCD, so I feel like I need to reel that in, try and reel in. I try and do everything the same, but I don't know if it's too much, and I don't know. I have so many things to say, so I think I'm going to end it there because I don't know what else to say. I have a lot.
Well, you shared a lot of good things, and I'm sure that everyone got a lot of good ideas. One thing that was an aha moment for me when you were listing some things off is it's funny how we're talking about seasons a lot. Like Michelle started talking about that, like Scentsy could be a season, or your current full-time job can be a season. But also in the business, you can have like seasons of strength and seasons of weaknesses. And it made me realize that I've been in that season of weakness because it just, Scentsy was not my, like, systems and effectiveness was not my focus. And which is horrible. It really is. I just got really lucky that I busted my butt for 5 years before a lot of things happened. And I had a lot of systems in place, but I lost an assistant that used to do a lot of the non-income producing activities for me. And I'm kind of in between one. And when you said you listed off the non-income producing activities, it made me realize that I really do need an assistant that will do those things again for me, like bagging orders, because I've been bagging this fundraiser since like 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm not even halfway done. And there's so much more I need to be doing for my personal business and for my team and everything. And so that was a big aha for me of like, you know what? Everybody knows I'm kind of like waiting in the next week of if I'm staying here or if I'm not. And so obviously I have to wait to hire that person to do those things, but I can have my kids help me like they used to. So thank you for that reminder, Melissa. It really helped me. Yay. Okay. So Melissa, number 2. Let's see. Siganaro, I'm going to unmute you. I'm just going to call you Siganaro from now on. When there's 2 of you.
You got it right, though. Did I unmute it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like everybody else. Like, there was so much, but I was going into SFR kind of the same as Michelle, where I was like, this is like, I am not doing what I should be doing, what I want to be doing with this. Like, I'm having a hard couple of months trying to get a whole lot of sales in at all. And then as I was listening to other people, I was like, well, no kidding, you haven't done much. You're also not putting in much. So, like, yeah, you're right. You're not getting a whole lot done because work kind of overtook everything last year. And I felt like I was barely holding on at work. So a lot of my stuff with Scentsy kind of got put to the side because I worked from 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night and trying to work on the weekends, trying to get this whole kindergarten thing figured out. But I think one of the biggest aha moments I had was when I was listening to Carrie B at the meeting. I was listening to her talk, and she was talking about goals. And I don't even know what triggered it, and I know, Jess, I've talked to you about this, but I was like, wait a minute. And almost 2 years I've been with Scentsy, I've set 3 major goals for myself. And I've hit all 3. So why am I not setting more goals like that? Because obviously when I have that goal, I work to get to attain it. So like, why am I letting these months go by where I don't really have a clue as to what I'm working for, other than like, here's the warmer of the month, and look how cool this is, and okay, now I'm done. So that was a really, really big one. And then also, like, I'm gonna sound so selfish, but I was working so much of my Scentsy thing for me. Like, this was my time. It was my time to kind of just meet people, and it was my time to like have fun with the product. And whenever we had ever had extra half priced and host rewards, like, I just picked a new warmer that I wanted, and it was stuff like that. And then I was realizing, was like, there's so many times that we hear that, like, you need to give so much more than you take. And I was like, whoa, I kind of feel like I've been doing the opposite. So why haven't I talked to the people for the fundraisers like I've had ideas to do? And why haven't I done like the buddy drive? I've got one of my closest friends, her husband, who's like, they're both like family, is a PICU nurse at St. Rose Dominican. Like, and there's last Christmas, I was like, hey, that'd be really cool would be to do a buddy drive for the kids in the PICU. I've gotten in, like, he's practically my brother. I should do that. And then the Christmas season just went by and I didn't do anything about it. So it's like, why haven't I talked to Adam and said, hey, I want to do a buddy drive and see how many buddies and buddy clips we can get to the kids that are going to be spending Christmas in the PICU. So, and then with all this new pet stuff coming out, like, I've got a real passion for Animal Foundation out here because it's where I've gotten all my dogs. So why aren't I trying to figure out how to do drives and fundraisers for the people at the Animal Foundation? I've had a lot. My family owes them a lot because of the dogs that we've been able to come home with through them. So just like there was a lot of things where I was like, you keep having these ideas and then you don't do them. So of course your business isn't growing because you're not growing. So, like, no kidding. Of course your things are not going to change unless I do some changing, and I haven't been changing. So I think that between everything with the goals and then that, like, those were my biggest, okay, I need to stop with these. Well, I think I want to do this. No, I want to do a fundraiser. And my goal for the rest of this year is I want a $2,000 month. I've never had one. I want a $2,000 month. And if I've been able to make Sensational Start when that was my first goal. Well, no, you know what? It's 4, because my first one was Shooting Star. I got Shooting Star. And I was like, okay, great. Now I want Sensational Start. I got Sensational Start. And then last year, towards the end of last year, it was I wanted to hit 10,000 by the end of the year, and I did it. And then up until now, it was I wanted to earn the slingshot incentive, and I earned level 1. So my new one is I want a $2,000 month. And like, if I can set that goal, if I've made all of my other goals, there's no reason why I can't make this one. And then I want to start doing fundraisers. I want to start doing drives. I want to start doing things that are going to benefit other people and turn this more into what can I do to help other people, as opposed to like this just being a fun thing for me, And then, a lot of what Michelle was saying too about the Show Me the Money workshop that we went to, and they were showing people's paychecks, if you have this, and obviously there's some of the numbers that she was showing are things, they're not the norm. But one of the slides she showed was like, if you have this, and this, your paycheck works out to $52,000. And I looked at Michelle, I said, in a month. I make that in a year. And the district is the one that, like, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours you put into it. It doesn't matter how many extra things you do. This is how much you're going to earn. Hold on. Oh, there it goes. This is how much you're going to earn. And they also will say, oh, you know what? Sorry, you're also not going to get a raise. You're not going to get a raise for a couple of years. We can't afford it. So to know that about the district where it's, you know, or there's even been times it's, oh, you know what? Sorry, we're going to have to cut your pay. You're going to get a 3% pay cut. Not for anything you did. We just can't afford it anymore. And to realize that as teachers, we have to deal with that on a daily basis. And then there's also this company that I'm with that's like, the more you work, the more you're going to get rewarded. And the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. And there's never going to be a time where we're going to be like, oh, we see all this work you're doing, but it doesn't matter. We're going to take your money. Like, why aren't I putting more effort into being successful there? Because that's the company that's actually showing that they appreciate the people that they're with, as opposed to the district that's like, yeah, Amy's standing next to me and she just basically like flipped everybody off. And I was like, yeah, that's basically it. Like, the district is like, screw you. What are you going to do? Quit? So yeah, it's just, it really put a fire underneath me to start running my business as a way to help other people and to really start working on focusing on all of the good that they do instead of focusing on all of the negative that happens in through the district. Like, you know, I'm not going to be able to quit my job for a while, and I understand that, and that's fine. But instead of focusing on all the negative that happens with that, and like that starting to pour into my Scentsy business because I'm frustrated with work, so it kind of poured into everything else, trying to swap it and say, well, this is all the positive stuff that's happening with Scentsy, and I'm going to turn that into the like focusing on the positive with the district too, so that I don't walk out. But yeah, I think that those are the biggest things. It's just, it was more a personality shift. Like, I feel like this SFR was more a personality shift than it was like a business shift for me. It was way more of a personal growth thing where I was like, I need to start doing this stuff for me, and this is how it's going to affect my business. But this is the stuff I need to start doing and changing for me first. So yeah, I think that's a lot of it.
Wow, you said a lot. You're very inspiring, Melissa, when you're sharing. I have to tell you, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, and like think about that themselves. But, you know, I also want you to not beat yourself up because, you know, we do have our life changes, our needs change, our focus changes, which is good. And it seems like your focus is changing just for the better in a more positive way. And you're realizing the what's available to you. And I mean, I would be lying if I told you I have a bunch of ideas that I'm like, you know, that would be great. This, you know, and they don't actually happen. And you're right. We just have to always ask ourselves, like, why didn't I make that happen? Why didn't I take the steps to move forward? And I was just reading something. I don't know what. I'm always reading something or listening to something. And so something about like the only way action or success can happen is if you take action, meaning in anywhere. It could be just the first step. That's the beginning of success, is being able to say, I've started, and that's it. So I love, and it's so important for all of us to be, once we have it out and we're kind of figuring things out, really write down like, okay, goals. I need to set goals. Like, so you and I together need to start writing our goals down because I know personally, and you know personally, when you were making those goals happen. And I do have a question for you. Do you know what it is about setting a goal that makes you kind of push forward? Are you kind of are you a competitive person, or are you like, I know that's why it is for me. When I set a goal, I'm like competitive with myself, and I like to like, you know, achieve that goal just with the competitive side of me. So do you know what that is about you?
I'm not a competitive person, but I can be, I can get very hard on myself. So when I set the goal, I am the type of person where I'm going to work really hard to reach that goal. because if I don't, I know how badly I'm going to feel about it.
Oh,
So I don't know, you know, like, and I think I'm a very type A, very, like, I love writing lists. So I'm also the type of person where, like, I love writing lists, but I also love, like, crossing things off of that list.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the person, like, will write my to-do list and then figure out I needed to do something else, so I'll do it, and then I'll write it and then cross it out, just because, like, I did it and it was on my list, so I'm gonna write it down anyway. So I think that's part of it too. It's like, this is something I want to complete. This is something I need to complete. So I'm gonna take these steps to do this, to complete this step, so I can cross it off.
I know so many people that are like that. So I like to cross off. I'm not. It just depends on my day. I think if I'm like really in a row, I want to get really productive, I will write things down sometimes just to say I crossed it off, because I think the visual is what we need. We need to see that we've done something with our day, instead of being like, I feel like I did nothing. You can actually visually see, even if it's something small, like you said, like you end up, maybe you ended up making an extra phone call that you didn't plan on doing, or I don't know, just different ideas of something small that's nothing really huge, but writing it down just gives you a little bit more confidence that you did something, in that day that was productive. So, I mean, that's a great tip. If anybody's listening, that doesn't really know where to start, starting by just writing it down, and then, prioritizing by time factor, sitting there and saying, okay, what has a timestamp on it? What needs to be done by tomorrow? And then putting that to the very top. And then all the other things, once those top focus priorities are checked off, you can move, then you can reevaluate that list. It could be a list this big, that's fine, but then you can transfer it onto your today list and your to week list. And then they kind of just keep shifting by priority. And then they also keep getting bumped up, because obviously as the time goes on, even it may not have a timestamp as today or this week, as you're checking all these things off, the ones that are down here are the timestamp is gonna get closer. So then you move it to that week or that day. So, that's a very common but successful strategy with, just being able to stay disciplined and accountable for yourself, because we all work for ourselves. We're not in business by ourselves, but we're in business for ourselves. So just kind of figuring out where we start is usually the biggest struggle with most consultants, because they have a bunch up all over here. I want to do this, I want to do that. Oh, that'd be so great, blah, blah, blah. But we have to kind of brain dump on our piece of paper, which is why our calendar, I think, if I remember correctly, I haven't been using this one. I'm a happy planner. I try to use this one, but I'm a happy planner girl. But I know a lot of you guys like this one, but I think there is a brain dump page somewhere in this book as well. And they have a new one in the success store for next year. But anyways, I just thought about that. But give yourself time to brain dump. A good strategy is to, like, Sunday night before your week, is just write everything down that you need to get done, and then prioritize what you're going to get done on each day, and kind of just map out your week. And, and then as far as like Melissa, she's got a goal to, do a fundraiser, so she can say, okay, write down, okay, fundraiser for the, what's it called? The PQ? What is that? Pediatric NICU? Is that?
Oh, the PICU, the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit.
Okay. So that you can write that down, and then, okay, what is my first step? What would I do? Who would I contact? What are things that I need to do in order to make that start happening? And since you have your friend, you'd say, okay, first thing I need to do is have a discussion with, this person. So call, John, whoever it is, on, Monday or Tuesday, and have a conversation, but putting it in the calendar, because I will tell you guys, having a home-based business, there are so many hats that you have. You are the marketer, you are the salesperson, you are the manager, you are the owner, you are the, merchandiser, You are the planner, you're everything. So if you don't put it down in your calendar and you don't brain dump, there's going to be so much that doesn't get done. Take it from me, because when I stopped doing things like that, when I stopped having a system of all the things I needed to do, a lot never got done. Only the things that I was lucky enough to have just very well-oiled systems running that were the basics, but that only kept my business maintaining. Okay, guys, it only maintained my business. It didn't grow my business. So we have to be, somebody said at leadership, I think it was actually Amanda Gord. She spoke at reunion as well. Was that her name? Gore, Amanda Gore. Maybe it wasn't her, somebody else, but are you working in your business or on your business? That's a question we all have to ask ourselves. I don't know who actually said it, but that was a big aha for me, because I haven't been working on my business for a long time. I've been basically working in it. Everything that is already flowing and working, I'm just maintaining that. And that's why, let's see, 3 years after I promoted to superstar director, our group is exactly the same size, guys. That's not good. That's not good as for on me as a leader. I'm not intentionally recruiting every month. I'm not intentionally setting goals as sales every month. Everything you guys see, because I like you guys to see what I do, so you know what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. When you see my sales, that's all already business. That's just regular business. I mean, here and there, I'll get some new business, whatever, from referrals, because my business is built already to a certain extent, but there's really not a lot of growth happening. And that's why some of you may not be growing, because you're not seeing me do that. And so I'm here to be vulnerable and tell you guys that I'm finally ready to start jumping in and growing my business as well. And so it may be here in Vegas or it may be in Virginia. I don't know. And if it's somewhere else completely, the cool thing is everybody's like, aren't you terrified? You're starting your business practically over. I'm not, because I've already done that. And I saw the blessings that it gives you when you actually start your business off somewhere fresh, because I can do all the things that I did before and do them again, and they're going to work. Introducing myself to my neighbors, walking into businesses and introducing my business and myself as a business owner, going into schools and daycare centers and different organizations, sports organizations, introducing myself as somebody that wants to do fundraisers for them, having proposals ready. Those are all very huge factors of what got my business growing in New Mexico when I started, and then again here in Las Vegas. And I've done it several times when I was growing my business. When I stopped doing those things, that's when my business stopped growing. The fundraisers I do now are only because I've had them in place for years. I have one new fundraiser that I started last year. That's only because I met a new friend in church, and her kids go to dance school. So I offered a fundraiser because that's just in my kind of like makeup of what I've been doing for so long. It's kind of natural. But if I didn't have a new way of meeting new people, which in that case, it was new church people, I wouldn't have had that fundraiser. So I kind of got lucky in that area because I was doing something on a personal level for myself. So think about that, you guys. Have you thought about your hobbies, things that you like to do for yourself on a personal level? If you go to the gym, if you take, martial arts, I know Melissa does, and she has made her martial arts family aware that she is a Scentsy consultant. So she gets business that way. I don't even know if Melissa Henning has done this, but offering a fundraiser for people, because her and I will tell you, martial arts is very expensive with all the gear, all the uniforms, all the different competitions, all of the different belts. When they move up and they rank, we got to pay for that. So some of these parents might be like, man, heck yeah, I want to do a fundraiser because I their new uniform is going to be like $100, or, I'd really like to get my kid this, punching bag thing to have at home to work out at home, but it's $400 and I don't have $400 at home. So think about those things. What are your kids involved with? What are you involved? What have you wanted to be involved with, but you haven't taken action to do on a personal level? That's going to help your business eventually. So even if you just start taking action on, I've always wanted to take singing lessons. And so your first step is to reach out to, to a singing coach. And eventually, it's very, what's the word? Natural. I know it's not natural. It's, oh gosh, it's going to kill me. But basically what I'm trying to say is that you're doing it genuinely. You really do want to learn how to sing. So you really do want to take these classes. But eventually, as you get to know this coach, and maybe you'll get to know other people taking things, you can offer, hey, if you know any people that, are kind of tight on money and maybe they want to take some extra classes, but they're, the parents don't really have the money, whatever. I do fundraising. So if you know of anybody that needs a little extra money for your lessons, or maybe you want to do like some type of a singing show or something that you need funds for, please let me know. I'll be happy to be that person. But listen the way you're delivering it. You're basically sharing with confidence that you're their person, that you can provide that for them. Not if you want to do a fundraiser, let me know. Just say, you know what? If you have any opportunities for fundraising, I'll be happy to be the person to do that for you, because you're showing confidence and you're showing them that it's actually an avenue that's going to help them. And in turn, like Saganaro said, she said that she wants to really shift her focus on serving others. Well, I can tell you 100%, you guys, that when we put our focus in serving others, whether it's helping them get a great product at a better price with, combine and saves, whatever, letting them know about sales and giving good customer service by letting them know about the promotions, or letting them know about hosting opportunities because they really can't afford all the stuff they want, or fundraising opportunities, or becoming a consultant and making their own income. When we drive with that focus, that we're helping them, you will, in the back end, be blessed in so many ways, you guys. I can't tell you how much leading with a service heart will tremendously grow your everything around you. You'll start to meet people that you never thought you'd ever meet. You'll start to be surrounded by people that you need in your life, positive people you're going to learn things from, whether it's for your business or if it's just for your personal life, or both. But you're basically creating the momentum and putting it out in the universe that that's the way you want to run your business, that you want to serve and help other people. And the laws of attraction and the way God works is he blesses those that serve. He wants to pour blessings down on us on a regular basis. There's so many blessings that he wants to give us that we can't even fathom, and the universe wants to give us if we lead with a service heart. So putting it out in the universe, affirmations are so huge, you guys. The way you talk to yourself in your mind really makes a difference. Again, I'm speaking from experience. When I spoke to myself as I am a leader, I have a good heart, I lead with service. When I told myself good things about myself, great things happen. But when my brother passed away, that trauma just killed everything that I knew and I built, and I grew into the person that I was. And I went back to talking bad about myself. I went back to saying that I wasn't a good sister. I wasn't a good person. I was selfish. I should have been spending more time with my brother. I shouldn't have been spending time with other people. Horrible, horrible talk, you guys. And guess what happened? I started to a spiral downfall with my business on a personal level, as a friend, as a relative to people. it's not good. So ask yourself, what am I telling myself every day? What kind of talk am I giving to myself? And if you do catch yourself, because we're all human, okay, that's never going to change. When we start to catch ourselves saying, you don't look good in that, or you're too, you're not good, like, I think it was Melissa that said that she started to get that itty bitty icky committee about the whiff boxes that came in. When that starts to happen, you can nip it in the bud immediately and say, you know what? Why not? Why not? Why can't I get 10 whiff boxes? And how am I going to do it? And start breaking down the strategy. Because just like for me, I've gained 30 pounds since my brother died, and it hasn't come off, and I haven't really done anything to take it off. But if I want to change that, instead of saying I'm fat or I'm ugly, I need to say, I can lose weight. This is how I'm going to do it. This is why I'm going to do it. Not because I'm trying to win a supermodel contest. It's because I want to be healthy and I don't like the way I feel. So what can I do to make myself feel better? I can be intentional with the things I put in my body. I can be intentional with making sure that I'm active, because I'm going to tell you, I sat on the couch for 2 years. No joke. If I didn't have to, I did not get off my couch for literally probably about 1.5 years. And when you don't have any motion, nothing happens in a good way, right? So that's the same thing with our businesses. When we're just sitting and not taking action, our business is sitting exactly the way it was and the way it's always been. So I want to thank the three of you for being on live, sharing what you've heard. I'm going to share a little bit before, because we're a little bit over our hour, but we also started late because my internet wasn't working and I couldn't get into my password. But I have some highlights that I'd like to share with you guys. Gosh, there's a lot, and I'm going to kind of probably break this down into different trainings. I'll probably make some YouTube videos, but okay. Know yourself and your story. So this is called KISS, KYSS. Instead of KISS as in KI, replace it with a Y, and it's know yourself story. Okay. So your story is the most important thing in your business. Why? It's because it is explaining who you are, what you want to be, and who you become, and where you want to, and who you want to become, and who you were. Okay. Recognizing what your story was before is very important. One of the speakers, and it's so true, I Melissa felt bad about not being able to like say who it was. It's okay, because we were learning so much from so many people. They all kind of just blended in. But I have it written down at the top, so I know it was from Amanda Gore, that we have to look back every now and then so we can see how far we've come. Okay. But if that's the intention, it's going to be a positive glimpse. But if we're looking back and focusing on the past, we're never going to, we're never going to be able to look forward, right? They always say that you can't look forward when you're looking in the rearview mirror. I love how Melissa Henning talked about, you have to be a little bit and Katie Farmer's trainer, you kind of have to be a little bit of comparison, but then also not so much that's going to kill your joy. It's the same thing with, it's funny, I was just having that talk in my mind the other day about, it's important for me to recognize the person I used to be as far as my weight and the way I looked and the way I felt. So I know that it's different, that I know that it's not where I want to be, but it can't be so much that I'm beating myself up and not loving who I am today. So it's the same thing with your business and your personal life, whatever it is looking back, seeing how far you've come. So when it comes to, I'll just use my weight as an example. I'm now all week, I think all of us, it's hard to eat well when you're on vacation, right? Because you're kind of at liberty to all the restaurants and you're eating out all the time. I was so proud of myself that I was able to say, I didn't drink a soda. I could have been like, yeah, I'm so tired. I need some caffeine. the one thing I stuck to my guns, you guys, was that I had water with everything. And yes, I had lemonade one day, and I lived it up on that day. I loved my lemonade. But I'm able to look back and go, I was drinking soda every single day. Gee, no wonder why I gained some weight, right, guys? But so I can look back and say, oh, look how far I've come. I now have the discipline to be drinking just water. And when I need a little something with flavor, I drink lemonade instead of went to soda. So that's a little bit work. I've gotten a little bit further. So you need to be able to share with people where you came from, you know, how far you've come. My story starts with, I was so broke, I didn't even have milk in the refrigerator. That's where my starting. So I'm able to look back and say how far I've come in my business and in my life. So think about that. Think about when you started. Where were you at mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and where have you grown? And you may not have grown in all areas. You may have grown in one area, but celebrate that area. Celebrate it. Give yourself the props that you deserve. That, you know what? I now have $50 more in my Scentsy account every month that I didn't have, that I can save, that I didn't get to save. Or, you know what? Now I have friends that I literally feel like I can have a conversation about, that I can, that have like-minded like me, that maybe you had a lot of friends before, but now you have friends that you really feel that you could be yourself with. I don't know. Just think about how far you've come, because you've come this far. You're still here. That's to celebrate that, if anything, because when things get hard, the first human instinct to do is to quit. And so none of you have quit that is listening to this or is on live right now. Because I'm sure there are times in your life, in this business, that you had some personal challenges, and or you were having such business challenges that you were like, I'm not good at this. I don't even know why I'm doing this. So ask yourself, were you ever there? I'm sure you were. And congratulate yourself that you didn't give up, because that was the biggest message at reunion. Never give up. We were so blessed to hear from, honestly, I think he's like the most incredible man in the world. Honestly, he really is a super human. And he tells us that we are too. His name is Colin O'Brady. If you look him up, his YouTube channel, a friend of mine Instagram, he showed us videos of when he was almost giving up. He was crying in pain, and I'm not doing well. He was admitting that it wasn't a good day, but he didn't give up. So it's okay. There's a saying with Scentsy, cry up. And what that means is you don't want to talk to your downline when you're not in a good place, because they're looking for you for inspiration. You don't want to be calling them saying, oh my gosh, I don't think I could do this. I suck. This is what happened. Oh, this business is not for me. You want to cry up to your upline, because here's the thing. It's very likely they've been through that. They've been through something. I can probably tell you I've pretty much been through everything in this business. So even if your sponsor hasn't, or your director, I can either tell you that I've been through it, and if I personally haven't, I can almost guarantee I know somebody that has. And so I will be able to lift you up, remind you that this is just a day, this is just a phase, and you're going to get out of it as long as you don't quit. As long as you don't quit. Because the most amazing things in life come with lots of adversity. Lots of adversity. This man was starving. This man was dehydrated. This man was freezing his cojones off. This man had tears that were freezing to his face because it was 30 below. Who wouldn't want to give up, right? But he kept going because he remembered his goal. He remembered the finish line. He focused on the finish line, and he knew that he wanted to die trying. He's like, if I'm going to die, I might as well die trying instead of living the rest of his life. I wonder if I just kept going another 12 hours. I wonder if I kept going another minute. If I just went to bed and let myself sleep? And what if I would have woken up with a different mindset and feeling better? So I've always lived my life, you guys, because my dad was killed when I was 4.5. That little 4.5-year-old got the message that life is short. I learned that at 4.5. And my whole life I grew up saying, I don't want to live my life saying, I so wish I did, on the day that is my end day and I meet my Father in heaven. I live my life saying, I'm so glad I did. Even if it didn't work out, I did it, I tried it, I gave my best, and not everything's gonna work out. But you don't know until you try. So, and when things get hard, you need to, use your upline. Now we had joy buddies at reunion, people that were sitting next to us. We had people, yeah. Hashtag joy buddies. And so these are the people that we that'll hold us accountable, that will lift our spirits up when we need it. That will also remind us of strengths that we have. When we were in our group meeting for our group that's under me as your SSD, I had you guys pair up with people that you don't know, because it's so easy to sit next to your best friend, sit next to the person that's on your team, right? So we want to break out of our shell and meet people that we don't know, because if we can't do that with our own team, are we going to be able to do that with strangers? No, right? So we met people we don't really necessarily know, and we wrote down 3 things that is our strengths. So I had some people, it was hard. They were like, because they're so used to beating themselves up, they're not used to focusing on what where their strengths are. So some people it was harder for. Some people were like, I know I'm organized, I know I'm disciplined, and whatever. And they were able to write those 3 things down. And so whenever they're having a bad day and they're beating themselves up and they call their joy buddy or accountability buddy or whoever you want to call it, that person is going to be like, okay, you're telling me this isn't going well, you're not doing good at that, but let me remind you that you are organized. So let's focus on how we can use your organization as something that can help you in this area. Or you are a friendly person. So what is it about you being friendly that can help you through this? A lot of times, you guys, when you're struggling in your business, it has to do with another person. We are in the business of people and human behavior. It's usually a customer was nasty to us, a hostess, or a team member, and they just aren't getting who you are and they're breaking you down. And so we need somebody to say, wait a minute, you're a friendly person. And if they don't see that in you, then they don't deserve to be your friend or you to be their consultant, or they need to find somebody else that they can beat up and not on you. You need to create boundaries because you're not here to be beat up. Things like that, right? We need to be able to remind each other where our strengths are and ask our accountability partner or whoever you want to call them, your upline, your joy buddy, is this a fact about you or is this their opinion? Because I could bet you probably $100 that it's their opinion and it's not a fact, right? So that's why it's so important to have somebody on your side. Your upline, I'm your upline. I'm on all of your side. So you could always call me, but find somebody else as well that that you can call if I don't answer, or if your sponsor doesn't answer. Don't give yourself just 1 or 2 people to rely on when you're having, when you need them. This has nothing to do with this, but it links in really well. I was at a suicide prevention seminar a couple weeks ago for some research. And they said for people that are struggling with thoughts of suicide, or just having, issues. Now you don't have to be thinking about suicide, but you could be having a really bad day, right? They said you need to create a net, okay? You need to create a net in your business. When there's a net, there's usually 4 corners, right? 4, 5, 6, depending on how big the net is. And there has to be somebody holding each of those areas or pillars holding those areas. So figure out how, at least 4, if not 6, people that can be your net. They can remind you why you're doing this, remind you your strengths, remind you that you've done well before and you're doing it and that they believe in you, and help you get through that bad moment, that bad week, that bad month, that bad season, whatever. Because the most amazing thing about this business, you guys, is that you can relaunch it every day, every week, every month, every season. We all start at certified consultant, guys. I'm a superstar director at title, but I have to hit my 500 and I have to do all the things that I need to do, or I need to get to 200 to be certified again, right? And then I have to put in my 500 every month, and I have to have 3 frontline consultants active, and then I have to have 4 frontline directors to be as active, paid at title, or at their title, for me to be my title, to be my rank, to be superstar director. Now that's hard. That's something I face every single month, you guys. So I focus on what I can do. And that's what you need to do. Focus on what you can do in your business, not what is up to everybody else, because that'll just drive you crazy. Okay. You can't control what your team does. You can't control what their goals are, but you control what you do every day, every week, and every month. And if you can get used to that now, it's going to be a lot easier when you start to go up the ladder, and one month you don't get paid at title because you don't have all frontline directors active, or you don't have all frontline consultants active that you needed, but you did everything you could. Because you're going to need to be able to pat yourself on the back and focus on the things that you did succeed in. And that's what I have to do every month, you guys. I'm going to be vulnerable and I'm going to share with you guys. I haven't said it out loud because I just haven't. But you probably have noticed, if you look at the compensation plan, I need 4 frontline directors in order to be paid as a superstar director. Well, I only have 1 right now. So that means it doesn't matter what I do with my PRV, with how many frontline consultants are active, and how big my group wholesale volume is. If I don't have those frontline directors, I haven't been paid at title, right, guys? So that's a hard pill to swallow as you go up the ranks, because the higher you go, the more you need your team to do what they're doing. And sometimes they don't, or sometimes they are, but they can't control what their team's doing. Does that make sense? So this business teaches us patience. This business teaches us the ability to accept the reality and not be hard on ourselves, because when we are, it'll break you. I'm not going to say I'm not hard on myself sometimes, but I've definitely learned to accept what it is. So, would I like, and do I want to continue to strive to grow people and in any way that I can? But one, I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. So as you grow, you may not have all the answers, and that's okay too. I just was on a leadership call this morning that there's a superstar director that she's got all the formulas apparently, because she's got like 4,000 people in her downline. Okay. She started after me, guys. And so she figured things out that I didn't. So I'm not going to be arrogant or prideful and not say she must know something I don't know. So I'm going to dive into that training and then hopefully share it with you guys, and which I already have shared it with you guys. If you're on the leadership page, her YouTube channel is there. Her name's Chloe Cox. And then on the Angels page, I shared a YouTube video for organizing your office, and you could just subscribe to her and start doing your homework and getting into this AIM program that she calls, and figuring things out on your own. Don't wait for me to figure it out. Don't wait for your sponsor to figure it out, because you may get a system going and a program going that works and gets your business a well-oiled engine faster than I'm able to give it to you. I don't know. I have experience, I have knowledge, but I don't have all the answers. So in closing, we really need to start remembering that we're all individual consultants. We all run things and look at things different. One of you guys said earlier today that we all have different goals, and we all have different desires and skill levels. And so if you see somebody over here that joined the same day you did or before you and is past you up, they may have a background that really served their purpose in Scentsy, and it helped them grow faster. Do you know what I mean? So take that in consideration. So for me, I know that I had no idea about direct sales, training, teaching. I mean, pretty much anything, you guys. I didn't know anything. So I had to learn it all, and I'm still learning it all. But there might be people that already have that down, and you can learn from them instead of waiting to figuring out by trial and error. Becca Levi, yeah, she made Superstar Director in a year. Why? Because she had 20 years of business experience and owning her own business before she joined Scentsy. That's kind of a head start above us, right, guys? So you don't have to compare yourself and say, oh my gosh, you know, I've been in it for X amount of years. I don't know why I'm not a Superstar Director. So I know each and every one of us can to achieve our dreams. We just have to make sure that we are recognizing what those dreams are. Close your eyes. What do you see? Where do you visualize yourself? Place yourself there. If you want to be standing on stage, sharing your story about, you know, your beginning to end and, or to where you are that day. And if you want to be, you know, helping people that have, you know, low income, and you give them this opportunity, and, you know, picture these moments, these scenarios in your mind, and let yourself feel yourself being there. Because those are the visions that are going to push you through when things get hard. Because they always say, you know, I'm sure you guys have heard before, if the why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. The reason why that is true is because you don't want it enough. If you can have a why, but if it doesn't make you emotional with the thought of it coming true, it's not going to push you to keep going when you don't achieve the goal that you set that month or that week or that year. It's not going to keep you going because you've lived without it. You don't have it right now, right? So you're doing without it. But why are you going to keep going when things get hard? So, and then the last thing I'm going to say is that to build belief in yourself, you have to have better self-talk. And I talked about this before, but that's how you start to create belief. Because when, think about this, if you've told yourself enough times that you're bad at booking parties. I'm bad at booking parties. I don't book parties. I don't book parties. You're going to stay that way, right? Or nobody wants to book. Nobody wants to book. Nobody wants to book. It becomes a reality for you. But if you start to hear enough that everybody wants to book parties with me, people are booking parties with me, I can't get enough parties on my calendar. My calendar fills up faster than I can keep up with it. If you keep telling yourself things that are positive, you're eventually going to believe it. And guess what? The universe responds to that. And eventually you're going to have parties on your books. Same thing with sponsoring. If you're saying, oh, I'm a bad sponsor, I don't sponsor, I'm not good at it, nobody wants to join, you're right. I'll remind you, and even Colin O'Brady put it on his one of his slides, the Henry Ford quote, if you say you can or you can't, you're right. So ask yourself, what self-talk what self-talk do you have? Is it good or bad? If it's bad, you need to shift that and start talking better to yourself. Whether you write them down, affirmations every morning, you read them and you plaster them all over your house, wherever you go. But you have to say them out loud. You have to hear them. And you're going to start believing yourself, because you're going to start getting, you're going to start taking action that way, and you're going to start getting results. Because I can believe in all of you, which I do. All of us have all the tools that we're capable. Everybody you saw at reunion, or that you see on YouTube channels or whatever, they all started out as a person that clicked join, and that's it. They had probably less tools than are available now. I can guarantee you that, because they joined either around my time or not too long after, or, you know, before me, and they figured it out, and they still made it happen. So you just have to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? And tell yourself you deserve it. You deserve to quit your job. You deserve to live your life with abundance, and you deserve to have freedom. You deserve to go on that incentive trip. Whatever it is that you want, you deserve it, and you can do it, but you have to believe it. And then decide that it's going to happen. Because if you give yourself any room for this, oh, I'll see what happens, or oh, I'll try, it's more likely you're not going to get there. But when you decide, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and it's just going to happen, it may take me 1 month, 10 months, 20 months, but you decided that nothing's going to stop you, and you're never going to quit, you're going to get results. And most of the time, you get a lot more results than you thought were possible, because it's just the way the laws of attraction works. I love you all. I'm grateful for all of you that shared. And if you are on the recording and you have questions for Melissa Saganaro, Michelle Cohen, or Melissa Henning, they're all on our group page. You can message them, I'm sure they'd answer, or you can post it on the group page so everybody can see your question, and just tag them or tag me, and then everybody will be able to see what our thoughts are and what we can share. Our calls are now every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And except for major holidays or like reunion and stuff like that. But put it in your calendar, guys. Put a standing up reminder in your calendar. Set some alarms. So a couple hours before 5, your mind is ready that you are going to be on a call. Because I'll tell you, I forget about it even to this day. And they're my calls that I perform. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. So I hope this was helpful, and I can't wait to continue to share more. Bye, guys.
Are we going to have the team powwow this month?
Oh, yes, on Wednesday. Yes. I am going to have it at my house, because I actually have floors now. And then,
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm going to stream it so everybody can, listen to what we're talking about, because basically everybody that comes is going to be the same people that went to reunion, and we'll be able to talk a little bit further about how we've kind of dug in. And so I encourage all of you that were at reunion to really put it in your calendar time to sit down and dissect your notes and really start making a plan. So you can share it with us on Wednesday, and I'll do the same. And the first Wednesday of the month. Yeah. So what is that? Today's Monday, so the 7th. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I'll post it on the group page. And the more we stay connected and powwow, the more effective it'll be. Sorry I look like this, you guys. I literally took a shower and just put my hair up, and I got to my fundraising. I got to get back to it now. So
You're silly.
All right. Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Love you.